Hi, welcome to the See You Try show. And I am super excited today that I have our wonderful peer ambassadors, so young people who've been working with us this summer. And it ended up being this girl squad, which I think is just super important, right? Like we've got amazing girl power. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a minute, but I want to remind you that the Trauma and Resiliency show is designed to improve conversations about trauma and justice and equity, because we're committed to making Champaign County a trauma-informed community that's a more loving and equitable and just community. And so this is sort of elevating youth voices, and they will get a chance to share their wonderful experiences. And one little plug, remember, the views and opinions of the guest on the show are always theirs, because we want them to feel free to express whatever makes sense for them. And so without further ado, I am going to, one of the other things that I want to say, sorry, I want to say one more thing, is a lot of times we make lots of opinions as adults about what youth want and need. And I am honored to really create an opportunity for us to listen deeply to the voices of young women in the community. I feel like even when we make spaces for voice, we tend to prioritize male voices. And so again, I am deeply honored to spend some time letting young women in our community have a chance to tell you sort of what they see. So now we'll do introductions, and it doesn't matter which way we go, but I'm looking at my screen, so I'll probably start off with Jessica, because she is, so if you could introduce yourself, say your name, tell me what school you were involved with or at, and anything else that you think might be interesting for the audience.
Hi, my name is Jessica Ubaldo. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a senior at Centennial High School.
Hi, and what's the interesting fact?
That I'm a twin.
And that's going to make a lot of sense in just a minute. Hi, Jessica. All right, Paige.
Hello, I'm Paige White, and I am a senior at Centennial High School. And my interesting fact is I can dance and I could talk for hours and hours.
Oh, that's a great fact. Hi, Paige. Welcome. So I'm going to go down. Sitlali, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sitlali Ubaldo. I'm 17, and I go to Centennial High School, and I'm the other twin.
Do you have another interesting fact that you want to share?
I'm bilingual, so I also speak Spanish.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Daydeen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daydeen Mackey. I am 18 years old, and I'm going to be a freshman at Parkland College. And one fact about me, I think, is I can dance, and I'm also bilingual.
Ah, nice. What school did you graduate from? What high school?
Centennial High School.
All right. Centennial bringing it, right? Like representing. Okay. Last but not least, Karis.
Hi, my name is Karis Avan. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a junior at Central High School. And a fun fact about me is that I like singing and listening to music.
Okay. So, right, you notice, very talented, very creative, very artistic. So let's get going. So tell me, what made you all decide that you wanted to participate in Peer Ambassadors? So tell me, why you're here. What excited you about participating in this program this summer?
I wanted to be a part of the Peer Ambassadors because I want to make a difference in the community and overall the world. So I feel like starting small is a good place to start.
And you are making a difference. Okay, who else?
Yeah, I wanted to create. Oh, I'm sorry, you can go.
I wanted to be a peer ambassador because I wanted to learn how to make a safe environment for people to talk about their feelings without being judged.
Ooh, that sounds really important. And Sitlali?
I was going to say that I wanted to create a positive change in our community, and I also wanted to become more involved.
Great.
I wanted to be a peer ambassador because I just wanted to like make a safe community and like let people know that there are people who care about them and we can help.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be a peer ambassador because I wanted to be more involved in my community and learn many new skills. And hopefully, with the skills that I learned here, I hope to use in my future career.
Gotcha. Thank you all. So I know some of you came from other programs, and I know a couple of you, or maybe more than a couple, several of you came from a program called Care for You. And so tell me how you heard about us, and if you were a part of another program, if you could talk a little bit about that other program, like if you're part from Care for You, tell us about Care for You, because a lot of times parents or young people in the community aren't aware that there are good things out there. So give them some commercial time. Who can tell us how many of you are from Care for You?
I'm from Care for You, and it's actually a club and a program that is offered to juniors that are in AVID. And it's a great program that helps us learn new skills that our school, like that we don't learn in school. And it teaches us how to like manage money, prepare for like interviews and professionalism. But sadly it was cut short because of COVID. But even then we could do our own lessons at home.
Great. So tell me a little bit about, I'm going to ask a couple more questions, but Paige, what were you going to say?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. So Care for You program at your school, teaching money, financial management, sort of discipline. You also mentioned AVID. What's AVID, just in case, so people might not know what AVID is?
AVID is a class that you can take in high school and middle school, and it teaches you to become more organized and prepares you for college.
Wow. And Daydeen, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was going to say anything.
Okay, all right. No problem. So in Care for You, it's a great leadership development program. Would you recommend folks find it? Like if people are interested, is that something that you'd recommend that people check out?
Yes, definitely. Because being in Care for You, I learned things that I didn't learn in school, like have plans for my future, have goals. Basically, it taught me about leadership, relationship, which are things that I don't think that I learned in school. So I advise anybody to join Care for You. It's a really, really great program.
Yeah. And I think that, so Lali, were you going to say something? Because it looks like you were, yeah, please.
Yeah, I was going to say that I actually learned about the Peer Ambassador program through Care for You. And our teacher, Miss Decker, she helped us learn about, she helped us with our resume, and she helped us with the interview process and prepared us for everything.
And so I'm gathering, just sort of listening in, that you think that programs that help you understand like your resume, how to prepare for the job search, how to know more about yourself should be more available to young people in the community. Would I agree, like that you guys think there should be more things like Care for You available?
Yes.
Okay. So let like people who are out there listening know that's a good thing. And I know the end goal of Care for You is to make sure that you're equipped to be in healthy, safe, great relationships, right? Like that's one of the end goals, and having your own goals and priorities help you be better in relationships. And that, like, interesting how that all works together. And then there are other ways that you came upon us with other interests. Tell us, anybody else who came in through different pathways, how did you hear about us?
Well, I heard about Peer Ambassadors from, it was just a post, a social media post, and then We talked to Samira and she gave us an application.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you came to our open house, like our virtual open house, as we tried to learn new things. What was it like to come to like a meeting online, like as the first go round, right? Because you didn't know about it.
Yeah. It was different. It was different. Um, I I knew about peer ambassadors, but I wasn't able to join because I wasn't upperclassman.
Yeah. And then look at this. And so here you're here. All
Mhm.
right. So those were the questions I wanted to ask, just sort of so that people have a sense of like what's out there in the world, in the universe. If you are aware of other programs that you want to plug to make sure that young people know about them, please do. So tell me what it's like. Tell people what it's like to have spent the summer together. What did you do this summer? What did you like about the summer? Give people a feel for what you did.
This
Okay.
summer, we worked on individual projects as well as group projects. One of our group projects was over teen mental health and stress. And so we did a presentation about that, and we just have been informing ourselves and others about how to cope with stress. And also, we've been doing a project to elevate the voices of young mothers who experience homelessness, and that is done through a survey.
Okay, I'm going to ask about all of that, right? I'm going to ask a whole bunch more questions. So you worked on some big projects, big picture projects, but you also, I know there were some workshops and you did some activities, you attended some training. Tell me about the whole summer.
We first started off with the trainings. It lasted, I think, for about like 2 weeks. And it was very helpful because not only did we learn all these, like how to deal with trauma and stress and stuff like that, we also listened to other people's experiences. And I really enjoyed that. It definitely made me see other people's points of views and think about how I can handle situations differently, which I really enjoyed.
Good. So yeah, we talked a little bit about trauma. I was going to ask you if you thought that that was even necessary or if more teens should be talking about trauma and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I feel like that was very important because I feel like people can go through something traumatic and not even realize how much that's affected them or how that affects their day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. And are you seeing that among teens, like in terms of your peers and people that you know, that people are going through stuff and no one really talks to them about it?
Yeah,
I
so
think so. Oh, sorry, you can go.
okay. I was gonna say I think like I've seen a couple of my friends like going through stress and depression, and like without even realizing that they're going through it, which is something I noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jessica?
So while being in this program, we've also had to do peer-to-peer contacts, and some of them have gone into like very into depth, and people really open up to me and talk about the trauma that they have gone through, and we kind of like talk about how that has affected them now. So
Wow.
yeah.
So being able to, so it sounds like you guys have done some training, you've done some education, you have some projects, you've also been talking to people, you've been doing some peer-to-peer contacts. Can you explain to people what those are and why you think that they were included in the program? So what are peer-to-peer contacts so that people will know?
Peer-to-peer contacts are you just basically talk to people about like how they're feeling, or if like they're feeling stressed or sad or depressed or whatever. You just talk to them and help them through that.
Mm,
And it can be like a text or email or call in person, whatever. You just help them through what they're feeling.
great. Are, so since you've been doing that, do you think there's a need for teens to be talking to other teens this way? Like, do you think that that is helpful or useful?
Yes, definitely, because with like everything that I've learned through this group, I feel like I've learned like skills that help me like listen to my peers, and I feel like it's really important to talk about it, like to have somebody to listen to you and like give them an ear to listen to and like give them advice, like give them some tips to on how to take care of themselves. So yeah, definitely has been really helpful for me personally.
Well, good. So it sounds like reaching out. So Paige, were you going to say something? I see you all geared up. No? Okay. All right. Okay. Not lit up. All right. So you've talked, you've trained, you've talked about trauma, you've realized that you can be helped. And you said Paige mentioned that you guys did individual projects. Tell me what that is. Because again, people out there don't know. What were your individual projects, or yeah, what birthed that? So talk to me. What was an individual project? Give the audience a range of the kinds of things that you thought about or talked about doing.
My individual project was centered around abuse, or more specifically child abuse. And it was I just made a flyer like with the signs and symptoms, and then tips on how you can identify it early on.
And why did are you comfortable sharing like why you chose child abuse, or is that an issue that you feel like is something that impacts teens or your community?
I do think it's an issue, and I also feel like teens or children who are abused, they don't feel safe enough to talk about it, or they don't have someone safe to talk about it too. So I feel like it should be broadcasted in a way, so people take it more serious, because there are people who are actually going through this and they have nobody to talk to, and they're just being abused and don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. And that probably is sad to think about, and sad to like think about like having friends who are experiencing things that they can't talk about. That came up several times during the training, right? Like that there are just so many teens that are in the community that just don't have anywhere to go when they're hurting, or don't feel like anybody would listen if they're hurting. Other projects that you worked on?
Yeah, my individual project was basically kind of the same like Kara's. Mine was like more focused on like teenagers, like who go through stress and depression, which is like something could be like coming from like due to like home domestic violence. Cause like I remember in middle school seeing like kids who like was abused, or like seeing like their siblings or maybe um mom or something like that like being abused, and like they know like they were angry inside and didn't know how to channel that angry, so they used to like take it on like on other kids and like would get in trouble in school. I just feel like they didn't have like much of a support, so I just wanted to give out like some resources on like how they can like um reach out for support and like have more help, or like create a safe environment on like how they can like open up and like try to be more calm and like figure out how they can get through the things that they're going through.
Yeah. Sounds like a good project and so needed, right? Because you're saying if kids and young people are stressed out and are hurting and nobody's supporting them, then sometimes they get in trouble, or people identify them as being problematic, and really it's just a sign of them really being hurt. And you really wish people better understood the hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. Other projects. These are great projects.
My project was a social media campaign about depression. I specifically focused on Latinx and Hispanic youth and what they go through. And when like finding research and stuff like that, I did struggle a little bit because I feel like it's not commonly talked about. But I've also used like what I've seen and witnessed. with that to help me like gain more information and talk about like strategies and ways to like cope with it. I mean, symptoms and ways to cope with it.
Okay. So Jessica, can I ask, are you comfortable sharing out loud? Like, what do you think is different and why do you think there's so much stigma and silence around depression in the Latinx community?
It sound like I feel like a lot of people, like older people, kind of neglect that that's actually a thing, and they're just like, oh, they're fine. They're just like lazy, or they're just like they just don't want to do anything. In reality, it's actually something going on, and I feel like even the children who or the teens who are struggling with that, like they don't feel like they can talk about it to their parents because they obviously either don't believe them or just completely neglect it. So I feel like it should be normalized and talked about, and people should feel comfortable to talk about it.
And what would you say to other teens or teens about like trying to elevate voices, particularly Latinx teens who might feel silenced? What tips and strategies would you advise them?
I feel like if you don't feel comfortable talking about it with the people at your house, like at home or family members or anything, you should definitely talk to a school counselor about it or something like that to see if there's anything that you can do to like seek help.
Okay.
Because with especially depression, like it can get very bad. And I feel like everybody should be like given the resources to try to better themselves.
Okay. Karis, were you going to chime in?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. So who else can tell me about your individual projects? These are great. First of all, are you all hyped up about how smart you all are? Imagine what would happen if you had a whole year. Like you guys could change Champaign County, right? I love it. So who else can tell me about the other projects?
For my individual project, I made a YouTube channel and I expanded on my Instagram talking about self-care because I feel that is important for everybody to know and be knowledgeable about because that is how like it's a lifestyle. It shouldn't just be something you do once in a while. It should be something that you should be educated on and live day after day because it'll help you to have a better life.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to find the video on self-care on my Instagram, it's Paige Capriel. PaigeCapriel.
Yay! Get that plug in. So, Paige, tell me what self-care is, because people throw that a term around a lot, and I think because it gets thrown around a lot, it may not mean anything. So, when you talk about self-care, what are you talking about?
Self-care is taking care of your inner and outer needs and making sure that there are 8 types of self-care. And I mentioned those 8 types in the video, but there's physical, emotional, social, spiritual, personal, work, financial, and I think that's all 8. I'm not completely sure. But there's many different ways to show yourself self-care. It's just important to take breaks when you feel like you're getting stressed or like eating healthy because that limits the stress. So it's just overall just taking care of everything that you need to take care of and not neglecting anything that may be going on with you.
Yeah. And so in the time of COVID, it seems like when you're talking about self-care, you're not just talking about just doing a yoga class, you're thinking about something much more comprehensive. And so I like to think about that being well, right? Like to really think about being well in every area of your life. Because if you just focus on like yoga, but you're eating potato chips all day or you have no friends, it's hard, it's hard to feel balanced and good. All right, so Lali, I don't think I've heard from you, right?
So for my individual project, I mainly focused on the mental health presentation that we did. So I did a lot of research on chronic stress and coronavirus and how that's affected teens right now and their mental health.
Wow. So can you share? Because for those people who didn't chime in, I saw, right, I peeked at it, but can you give people a quick, like how is coronavirus and infecting teen stress right now?
Well, people like teens are experiencing a wide range of emotions right now, and like some teens can feel maybe a little bit at ease that they don't have to go to school, that they don't have to do those things, and it's more like online and at home. But other teens are like frustrated and upset about it because they want to go to school and they want things to get back to normal. And this could make people like get depression and feel more sad about it, and having a quarantine and social distance can also make them more depressed because they can't really hang out with their friends and stuff. So I thought that was very important to learn about because it's something that we're going through right now, and who knows for how long.
Yeah. And suggestions and strategies. It sounds like you and Paige were probably tag teaming. Suggestions and strategies. So if you're a parent or a teen or our teacher or someone who loves young people, what kind of recommendations did you guys come up with for teens who are dealing with depression or sadness or child abuse? Can you share some of those strategies?
I think right now it's important to have like your social connection.
Mm,
So it's important to like FaceTime your friends or talk to other people other than people in your own household, so you can kind of have that escape and you can kind of talk to other people and see how they're feeling about things, and you can tell them how you're feeling.
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like when you do those things, it helps you and the other person to know that they're not alone and that it's okay to feel how they feel.
So normalizing feelings, making connections. Jessica suggested that we ask the question and help people get over their stigma. Uh, Karis and Dadine said we needed more information and more like social promotion, right? We need to educate people about signs and symptoms and what to look for. What am I missing? Because these are all great tips. Because, right, like there's an audience out there who might be caring for young people. One of the other things that Jessica said that I want to make sure that we hold on to is don't, if you see something, say something, right? Jessica said sometimes parents and teachers or whatever can minimize young people's pain and not ask questions. And right now in this moment, you're all suggesting, I believe, that we need to be much more curious and to be aware that young people need a lot more support.